Welcome to Money Matters. My name is Malcolm Sime, and experts have warned that government could face a challenge against implementing the contingency fund policy, which is meant to avoid supplementary budgets. Analysts question the sufficiency of this year's contingency fund, which stands under 200 billion Ugandan shillings, a figure much lower than the previous supplementary budgets. But that will be a topic for another day. Coming up on Money Matters, exploring the contradiction in government policy, plus decoding the variables that go into your power tariff. Now, saving for tomorrow is a habit yet to gain traction among many Ugandans. This despite the fact that the ramifications for not doing it are many and well documented. So Livingstone Mukasa, the author of the book Enjoyable Retirement, shares with us where many go wrong on this and how they can have it fixed.
I've read your book.
Yes.
On retirement.
Yep.
And I know retirement is a very, very critical topic in the lives of people because, I mean, at one point or another, all of us will find ourselves, if we are lucky enough to live up to that time, in that space. For starters, how do you look at the way Ugandans take retirement?
It's haphazard at the moment with the way we're doing our retirement planning. Very few people purposely set out to have a plan and stick to it. So in the book, I set out to challenge people to think long term. If you walk into here and you find out long term, we don't have long term funds in the economy, save with what is available with NSSF.
Yes.
Because people are not saving for
long term.
We'll rather consume what we have.
Why do you think the situation is as it is? Because there must be push factors or factors that are forcing people into that kind of situation.
I think you need to put some figures on this. No nation has developed unless people adopt long-term savings. At the moment, Ugandans, let me start with the Chinese. They're saving 44% of their income. Yeah. The Kenyans are doing around 11%. Some numbers put Uganda's savings at about 4%. So for every 100 shillings, we only save 4. And even that 4, probably much of it goes to NSSF. So if we do not address the fact that saving comes before you spend, let me put it another way. Let's earn money. The money we earn should be money looked at as a source of investment rather than a source of consumption.
I hear you. But some people are blaming the cost of living.
But in some cases, you have a choice on your lifestyle. I believe some of the things we blame on the economy go back to us ourselves. Because you have a choice on which home you're living in. Can you afford it? You have a choice to place where you're sending your children. Can you afford it? You have a choice to where you buy your clothes. Can you afford it? Those are the questions. So while some people are not earning enough, there is a section of our society that actually earns good money. But ask them, how long can they live? How long can they sustain their lifestyle without their source of active income? Because there is a difference between the two. We have passive income and we have active income. With that passive income, you're earning money even if you're sleeping. With active income, you have to show up. It's a routine. You have to show up and earn that money. How many months? So if you're going to gauge how wealthy you are or how economically well you are doing, just ask yourself that question. How long can I survive on maintain my current lifestyle without changing it if I lost my primary source of income? And the nearer you come to the retirement age, the more years you should be able to spend. At about 40, 45, you should probably spend 2 to 3 years at best. At most, so that you could be able to look at that. So you get yourself, you gauge yourself. And then the emerging middle class, as we call them, they are living longer because they have access to good health care. In terms of, if you look around, if you go to the private hospitals, you find people there.
Which means chances of them reaching retirement age are high.
It's high.
But it's another question altogether whether that retirement age will be enjoyable or not.
Yes, will it be enjoyable? And if you're going to enjoy it, you're going to have to choose how do you want to live it. Now, the reason I was challenged to write this book was that 9 years ago, I sat down to choose what age I would retire. And the age, I said, okay, what age? We came to 50. Said, I will retire at 50. And then I talked to my wife, we agreed. So this is a date we've set. On our 58th year's birthday, we retire. But the challenge was that I did not know anyone in Uganda that had done it. And then I looked around.
To benchmark.
To benchmark.
Yes.
As if you start searching for information, you actually find it. So I found 4 guys that had retired 48, 47. And retired as in the sense that they have enough money to live on for the rest of their life. One of the guys has actually money for generations. But he's purely retired. And which also, in the Ugandan scenario, somebody tells you, I have retired. I have retired from the public service, and I have retired to a shop.
Which is something actually I find quite interesting. In fact, it's a question I was going to ask you, that I think Ugandans also need to understand what retirement means. And I don't know, probably you can help us understand this, because you hear very many people saying, I want to stop working, this 8 to 5 job with the company and that kind of thing, and then retire to farming, retire to a shop and that kind of thing. What is retirement?
Well, this is my own definition, but it relates to many of where, if you read books, including the one that I've written, Enjoyable Retirement, Make It Happen. For us, we've taken the view that you are retired if you can sustain, if you can get to a level where you stop working, even if you choose, you stop working, but you have money for the rest of your life. In other words, you can sustain your lifestyle with your passive income. You can continue working. You can continue doing things you love to do. Continue to engage in the community, but you're not worried about where the money you're going to eat will come from. That's the difference. As long as you're still battling, you're doing the hustle that we have to go through to earn a living, you can never tell me you're retired.
Is it possible in Uganda's reality to attain that?
I did numbers. Let me assume to some of you this number might sound a little bit hard, but let me just take a ballpark figure. Simplify this topic a little bit. Let's just assume that you have 200 million with one bank here in Uganda. I'm not going to name any, on a fixed deposit. Just 200 million. And I think an average emerging middle class will save that much. If you earn above 1 million shillings, in your lifetime you'll save that much. And because I've found out, if you are 25 and you start saving 100,000 continuously until you're 55, you have 237 million. So let's just take that figure, 200 million. If every month, if they gave you 10% on your money every year, just get inflation out of the picture for now. If you got 10% of your money in the entire annual year, you get 20 million. And if that 20 million is worth 1.8 million a month, now this is guaranteed income. You have it whether it has rained, whether you
sunshine.
Sunshine. So I think many people could live on 1.8 million here in Uganda.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Government could face contradictions within the law and policy as it tries to ring-fence public assets from abuse or misuse. And through the Public Financial Management Act, no entity or person should commit government assets without approval of Parliament. But in the Public-Private Partnership Act, Cabinet can approve without Parliament. And that will be our focus on Insight this week.
The Public Financial Management Act has, among other things, tried to ring-fence the country's resources, including oil, through prohibiting commitment of the country's resources or assets in debt, among other things, without approval.
When we say that you cannot commit government in those terms, we are saying that Parliament must be involved. But as you heard in the example that was given, the case of Angola, the government was committed to sell oil at $20 a barrel for 20 years. So the people of Angola have lost. So this is what we want to cure in terms of the Public Finance Management Act.
The practice we are having now is before any spending entity goes into any expenditure, they must have a business plan, they must have the plan for how you are going to ask for the procurement. So the procurement, the business plans all must balance vis-a-vis the budget that you are asking for.
In this respect, Parliament is the approving authority, but this law and principle is challenged because when it comes to the public-private partnership law, there is a problem, because in this case, Parliament lost the power of approval to Cabinet.
Still, PPP is about contracting. So the government will have to comply with both laws. They can process the contract under the public-private partnership, but when it comes to committing government on payments and costs, they will have to come and seek parliamentary approval. If they don't come to Parliament to seek parliamentary approval, then they will be held accountable and liable for violating either the Public Finance and Management Act.
The danger of not knowing, again, for many of the public servants, directors in government departments, commissioners, all those people who make decisions, is that then they are in a situation where they make decisions which are not supported by existing laws. So there's a raft of legislation that has been passed.
At least until a reconciliation is made, either government will commit Uganda's assets using one law, and a commitment shall be challenged using another.
It is now a fact that Ugandans have lost track of the enormous tariff hikes that the country has experienced of late. And this week on Consumer Insight, we focus on the formula used by the Electricity Regulatory Authority to arrive at tariffs and other important information that you need to know about power.
Every 3 months, your electricity tariffs change, most times upwards and a few times downwards. But how does the government come up with the tariffs that you pay?
Within the year, the shilling can move either way. It can either depreciate or appreciate. Inflation can move either way, but in most cases, of course, inflation has been positive all the time. And fuel prices also can move in either direction. It therefore means that in any given period of the year, or in any given quarter of the year, you would have the costs of electricity supply changing from time to time.
And did you know that there are hidden costs that finally end up on the end user's bill?
The costs of constructing these power plants is the biggest cost that we incur over the period of the operation of these power plants. Because basically, over the period of the license, consumers of the electricity are actually paying for the payment, the servicing of the debt that was incurred at the time of the construction of these power plants. And this debt is in dollars.
It is hoped tariffs will come down eventually, though not so soon.
I've been working with the development partners to ensure that least cost generation is brought on board. And good news is that a number of these projects now have started construction. So we expect that in the next 20 months, 18 to 20 months, some of these projects will start commissioning, and we shall be able to get reasonably priced electricity to come on the grid.
A point to note: is the person who wired your house certified? Because this might mean whether your house will burn down or not.
In case you have to use someone to wire your house, and this person presents to you a certificate and claims that this certificate is issued by the regulator, and you have any doubts, please ask that, first of all, look at that certificate. One, that certificate should have the photograph of the person. And the certificate looks like this. Yes, this is how the certificate looks like. You see, it has the photograph of the person. It has the logo of ERA. We also make sure that the list of all the people holding valid permits is available on our website. If you have any doubt, you can also check on our website and see whether this person is actually the genuine holder of this certificate.
It is increasingly becoming acceptable for professionals to engage in income-generating projects to complement salary earnings. Paying special attention to the teaching profession, we now explore how this can be done successfully.
Emmanuel Nalumenya has been a teacher for 18 years. His view is that all monthly salary earners should have an extra income source to complement their monthly earnings. For the teachers like him, he believes the opportunities are immense.
You know, with coaching, there is always that extra penny you get from the parents. It is actually topping up your salary. You know, salary is not enough, and it will never be enough. And we are living in a dynamic world where the cost of living is very high, where teachers are always striking, putting down their tools. Now, me as a person, I wouldn't think of putting down my tools, but I would actually think out of the box and look at ways of improving my income, and I'm happy, and I've progressed, and I don't regret.
So if you're a teacher, how can you seize these opportunities?
People now started going to people's homes, and now schools arrange, actually teachers organize from school, and then students' homes are visited for teachers to coach the students from there.
Nalumenya says a business mindset is critical. He believes he's a brand offering a much sought after and valuable service.
Students who have gone through my hands are always marketing me. In fact, I don't even market myself, but the students are my marketers. Wherever I have not reached, my students have reached. All students who have made it are always getting back to me and saying, "Teacher, I've sent you another student. I've sent you another student," because of the good service.
Emmanuel, however, cautions that just because the opportunities are available does not necessarily mean that coaching is cut out for anyone who thinks they have the knowledge. It comes with a certain level of expertise.
Yeah, now a teacher is trained to handle students. Now, someone who is not trained may divert the student because it is a broad perspective. There is counseling, there is helping them with the academic work, then there is helping them with general life. So someone who is not trained to handle students may actually divert the students.
On how he manages to juggle a crazy school term and side tutoring, Nalumenya has some advice for teachers who are keen on going into the trade.
I think the most important thing is managing your time well. Manage your time well, have a schedule, know that this time I'm doing this time I'm doing this, and make sure that everything is within your program. Don't keep jumping from one thing to another. So what is important is be focused on what you are doing, put your heart to it, manage your time well, you'll be able to manage.
As a teacher, chances are you've encountered students who struggle a little more than others in the classroom. This could be your opportunity to offer extra classes to these students and, of course, at the end of the day, make some money to supplement your earnings.
This week on The Entrepreneur, Norbert Muhumza's desire to make a difference in the community led him down a business path that many would not bother to explore. He started a social business with the intention of addressing the problem of pollution and dangerous fumes.
As a person, Norbert Muhumuza is one who puts the community and humanity up there on his list of priorities.
I am a Rotarian, very active. I am an advocate of hepatitis B. I am involved a lot with children. I have some projects in the community here that, empowering youth, especially men, some bit of female.
Inevitably, he ended up on a business path that was really close to his beliefs and cause.
So, for example, our social problem is we are solving unemployment. We're solving, there are many. If you've been to a traditional cooking kitchen in Uganda, you'll find the kitchens are very smoky. There's a lot of soot at the ceiling. This is called indoor air pollution plus carbon monoxide and carbon dioxide. This it kills about 19,700 people every year. And that's a big challenge if you consider about 17,000 of these are children below the age of 5.
Awamu Biomass Energy, as his business is known, therefore provides a clean alternative to this harmful source of fuel.
Our innovation is tackling this because it starts fast, it needs no attention, it cooks very fast than any other biomass fuel. It is 90% smoke-free, this is a guaranteed. It's been tested and approved. Did I mention that this stove actually uses many types of biomass fuels? I can mention things like maize cobs, things like wood chips, things like carpentry offcuts, things like bamboo.
However, the trade of renewable energy that he ventured into is one that has picked up pace, with about 80 active companies dealing in the same. It's therefore faced with a good amount of competition, but he remains confident in his product.
I've not seen on the market, unless if I'm not aware, a similar stove locally produced. There are those that have come out from imported stoves from China and America. They are super expensive. Also, their model, they are not customized for the Ugandan market. They are meant for camping or very small. So this stove, when we're designing it, this is almost a hybrid of the other stove.
But because social business does not guarantee a profit, as all dividends end up going back into the business, this entrepreneur has some other profitable ventures on the side that make him some money.
I have a farm sitting on 6.5 acres. I have chicken, I have cows, I have maize, I have coffee. They're seasonal crops, yeah? But once in a while you get to sell, so you get to sell to make some money.
As far as dreams and aspirations go, Norbut's life is made of these.
We want to set up a bigger, more equipped facility. We want to install machinery and equipment, mass production of these stoves. Target 200 stoves per day. With machines, very possible.
A budding entrepreneur with a heart of gold and a vision to give hope and employment to the less fortunate, Norbert Muhumuza chose to walk down the path of social entrepreneurship and managed to not only achieve his goal of helping people, but also make a living out of it.
Let us now have a look at what's happening in the world of markets. That's it this week on Money Matters. My name is Malcolm Sime. You can send us feedback. Look for NTV Money Matters on Facebook. Leave your comments and views, or you can even text us on 6565. Otherwise, enjoy the viewing.